See, I might just leave a chair in the entryway because I was thinking, there's just not a bench there.
What did you think
So
of
yeah, it
particularly
might just have to
the
stay
trail
there. It
of
actually
the
kind of
ACA?
makes sense. When you think about it. You ain't got nothing to
What
sit
did you
on
think
and
of the?
sit on your
What
shoes.
did you? Let's call them what
No,
The
the.
Dora
Let's just call them
Milaje, should we just call them that since you know how to pronounce
basically
it?
because
You
that
gonna
was
put some respect
something
on those
that's
words?
actually been
And
good.
that's why all of
what
this
they
is
say. They
just
don't need to
is a
see
lot
the
of
table. They can fold the chair.
it's mixed to put it kind. It's been mixed reception wise. Like
To be woke is to be aware of what is around you. The sufferings of others are included in that. How your actions affect other people are included in being woke. We got we got grandma over here undercutting the parents. That's what we got.
Grandma was sitting down, hit the fucking.
She
She
hit
was
that
chilling on the
weed
lava
right
Nah,
floor.
I
left, man. She was in a good mood.
Grandma was. Yeah, grandma was.
Grandma
That's
looked
basically isn't that how
foolish.
grandparents are history? Like, they ain't my kids. Let me be wild.
But it also has given places where we can actually utilize it for journalism. We can use it for protest. We can use it to be able to get ideas to kind of coagulate a little bit better. As day bloom my window, I watch as he passes by.
All right, now
I
really
say
try to sing
to
it.
myself, he's about to put a chair in some white guy's eyes. He knocked him over the head. Montgomery is a dream come true. I'm joking with you, man. How y'all
Out
doing
of
today?
all the fairies in the world, they had to try you.
You.
there's an excessive
But
amount of
it
money
was
about that
just
whole
I
situation.
need like a good chair manufacturer.
so.
It was just my
My favorite thing is
imagination.
apparently
Go
the
ahead.
site that they were at used to be for slave auctions, and the more that just unwraps it. I mean, it's Alabama, so most of it was probably for slave auctions and slavery, but still, the fact that that scene happened at a former place where slave auctions happened
Y'all. And so,
is
hey, let's put a little
hilarious.
context to it. So, from what I've learned from the socials, that was not a dock worker, that was a boat captain. So, yeah, he had some authority around there to move some things around, make sure some things was happening. That boat had been waiting for 45 minutes to dock.
It makes it worse, dog. The more
So these people was holding up all 100 folk on the boat. These 6-8 people or whatever was doing because of their selfishness. And then they had the gall to sit there and act like, nah, we know what used to go down here and it still do sometime. No,
try that in a
not
small
today.
town.
Well,
They went
no,
full.
ain't that small.
Swim Buddy is still my favorite because it's like, damn, yeah, of course he's 16. To have the energy to do that swimming that fast and still be ready to fight is extraordinary. Everything about that was just it was a sight, and I love all the memes. I love
Oh
all
my
of them.
goodness. So that is why we're gonna start this bitch off the right
Hold
way.
on, Montgomery got 200,000 people in it. Does that qualify as small?
Well, that's probably what their mindset was.
Just saying. What'd you say, bro?
So that's why, even though I don't have a video graph for it, they are our fucking HVFEs of the week. All of the people who have participated in the thorough gathering of Fadesgiving. And I appreciate those white folks for putting up their sacrifice and getting their ass whooped. For I thank you for all you have given. Every headshot you've taken, every blow for blow that you have taken, all of y'all, we appreciate your sacrifice. Thank you for being the example that we need and the strength that the community needed to actually realize that we can gather here together in unity for one more chance Fuck the Avengers, dog. We can be better than the Avengers, bro. We can be the tribe, homie. And I'm glad that we have finally got together. The people in Alabama, they tapped into their Haitian side for a second. They brought out the sugarcane fucking fields and machetes as quick as they possibly could. So thank you for the good folks over there in Montgomery, Alabama. Even the band, dog. Did you see the video of the band playing? Saying, get out the fucking dock. We've been waiting here forever. Bro, thank you to the band who continued to play this.
In unison yelling, move, bitch, or whatever. But
yeah, they were saying, move, bitch. Yes. I appreciate even the band for playing your music and keeping the rallying cry going. So with that, for this week's Historical Voices from the East Side, our Velvet Freight Train of the week is the good and mighty fine people of Montgomery, Alabama, or wherever they came from surrounding Alabama towns. Thank you for your service, for putting us all together again. Thank you, all parties who were involved. You know, we hate Thanos for what he did to the half of the population of the galaxy, but God damn it, wasn't he a good fucking villain? We appreciate that. But at the same token, we appreciate that Thor coming over there and giving that man the ball fade that he deserved for fucking up. So yes, there we go. With that, no, bring it home, bro. That dude brought that chair home. That was a good souvenir. He brought that chair home like it was a.
I'll say this.
Home.
Yes, Rahu was hit. He hit that dude 3 times in the head with the chair, and he didn't go down. And so. That is horrifying.
Pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. If it was an actual steel chair, okay, that makes sense.
Hard plastic still hurts.
One of them aluminum chairs or something, that would have been a problem. It doesn't work like in wrestling. Them things hurt.
That would have been a murder charge.
Yes. Those things hurt.
But I mean, that's why he could
especially to that old lady.
Yeah. You had to take it. You had to take the whooping. Because it's a non-lethal whooping. So, you know, he hit you with a metal chair, assault with a deadly weapon. It was a plastic chair, Your Honor. Yeah. Well,
here's the thing. So supposedly, Wakia, they put out the warrant for the arrest for the people out there. They put out the whole warrant for them. The
people, you got to be specific, bro. Our people.
I'm sorry. The government. So the mayor and the sheriff put a warrant out for the arrest of the actual people, the white folks who initially started the actual fight. They started it. Yes, they started it, which is very much so valid.
And in the words of the immortal bard, Little John, don't start no shit, won't be no shit.
So the guy, here's the only person that they're asking in for questionings, but it looks like they're not going to charge him as well, is the guy with the chair. But it looks like it still counts as a self-defense because they were fighting. So everybody was fighting. So all it was him getting off the boat. He got a weapon to protect himself. You mean so he knew his enemy, dog. That's the only defense. He probably fucking just gave haymakers to everybody.
There are no rules in a street fight. You might as well grab some.
Oh my God. And you know
that little kitty picture in Wakia's profile. Oh,
yes. So I just think it's so funny that like one of the things that like Jamel's the only one that called it, bro. I'm surprised that they have as many as they've been doing WWE RKO out of nowhere memes and like GIFs and shit like that. I'm surprised nobody put out the Mick Foley one. And Jamel's the only one that caught it. Like, bruh, The Rock had beat the piss out of a Mick Foley.
It's the Ken Shamrock one. That is my all-time favorite usage of a chair in wrestling, where he just cracks Ken Shamrock. So if you've never seen a video, after this show, look up The Rock.
Oh, we gonna post
hits Ken Shamrock with the chair.
Yes.
The sound is beautiful. It is. Yeah. It's like, oh, that's what a concussion sounds like. And it was a good shot. So that's what it reminded me of.
To the YouTube page. Oh my God, dog. Seriously. I'm surprised nobody brought that up. So thanks a lot for those Bro, the Velvet Freight Train of the week wrote itself, dog. And the people who came out with the actual merchandise for this shit,
There wasn't nothing velvet about that freight
Bruh.
train. That shit was raw, uncut,
bro, I swear to
and well
God.
deserved.
Got you, bro.
They got the inside of the velvet. They got the tube that the velvet's wrapped around, and just the tube on this freight train. Because they done took all the velvet and dumped it into the water with their selfishness.
Yes.
So much velvet substance has been spilled from the people of Alabama in these parts.
Yes.
There was no more velvet to cover the freight train. It just folded.
So what the
straight folded like that shit.
Next time.
Yeah.
That's all you have to do.
The boat. Yeah.
We gotta make an official folded like sound effect. We gotta do that.
Fuck.
Fold.
All right.
Just something. Folded.
Folded.
Folded. Something, we gotta do something. One of them might be a good soundbite.
So let's move on a little bit, because we're gonna relate that back to our movie. Our movie this week is actually She-Devil. And now, if you did watch our podcast last week, I hope that you caught on to the actual. Listen to our podcast. I hope that you folks caught on to what the actual joke was. We did the whole show actually backwards, so hopefully you guys enjoyed our backwards attempt at doing the show to commemorate Christopher Nolan's actual fucking momentum.
Own it. We did that mess. We did a great job. Everybody did really good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We did it. We meant it. And if you didn't get it, go back and watch the movie and then listen to the show again.
Yes.
And you'll see what the hell.
And you see what it just happened to talk about. So speaking of that, man, we have another movie that actually came out. Hey Jamel, you want to do your small East Side review for Barbie?
Oh man, I've actually got two quick East Side reviews. First, Barbie.
You got Oppenheimer too?
I've got Barbie. I've got Mutant Mayhem. Oppenheimer, I plan on knocking out this weekend.
Mutant Mayhem. Yeah. Okay. I'm excited for these reviews.
Yeah, go ahead. So let's go. So first, Barbie. It is a fun movie and also has some good messaging. I think Margot Robbie does an excellent job as she's called just stereotypical Barbie. I call her Barbie A because she's literally how we imagine Barbie doll is. But the commentary of how women are in society and the inside shots on Mattel, where it's a company that's basically built off the backs of a doll with all men running everything. I thought that was pretty clever. I thought Ryan Gosling was good as Prime Ken. In fact, all the Kens were good. The biggest complaint that I have in the movie, and why I wouldn't say it's a full-blown winner, and why it brings it down just a little bit, towards the end, we get a little too much of the Kens. Just a little too much. That took me out of it. But everything else about the movie, I think the commentary works. It can be a little heavy-handed in places, but it still works because some of the stuff that the women, the Barbies are saying, I had to really think. I'm like, I kind of was like that, or I've seen that in college. And so continue to cook, ladies. And it was spot on. One of the funniest things is when they talk about, pretend that you've never seen The Godfather and watch how a dude reacts. And it's just like, oh my God, I want to explain it to you. And I've seen that before. I've seen that with Tarantino movies. I've seen dudes actually do that. And so it was clever in that way. And it's a fun movie. Soundtrack works. The narrator is Helen Mirren. Favorite narrator in the movie after the one from George and the Jungle. Just an asshole towards the characters in the movie was the George and the Jungle one. This one, she was very good with narrating and adding in the comedic elements. At one point, Margot Robbie says that sometimes she feels ugly. And the narrator literally cuts and says, writers, directors, choose someone else to do this role instead of Margot Robbie because it's not believable. And just roll it around. I would give this a high at like a 4, like a damn near winning territory. But again, a little too much Barbie. It's some good stuff. It's some good stuff in there. The mother-daughter dynamic that we see with America Ferrera and her daughter, it's really good. I honestly wish it was more of just Barbie, the mom, and the daughter in their own adventure. If it was just that, I think it would have been like a perfect movie. But it's very funny.
Boy.
if you see this, Michael Cera and Kate McKinnon, they steal damn near everything that they're in as Alan and Weird Barbie. So for that, that's a high. It's a high enter for me. Mutant Mayhem, latest animated Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. Got a chance to see that on Tuesday night. It was a fun time. There's not as much action as you would think in the movie, but everything serves the purpose of showing and showcasing the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. This is the most teenage that they've ever felt. And it's not weird teenagers or doesn't edge into a creepy territory. They feel like kids, and that's something that you don't really get in a lot of the other interpretations, even the ones that I feel are great. It doesn't really highlight. The ninja stuff is highlighted and them being mutants, but them being kids is not highlighted as much. And I think the fact that they're all voiced by young people who are near teens, it works so well within that movie. I think Ice Cube is hilarious and great as the main villain, Superfly. All the other mutants that you see, Mondo Gecko, Ray Fillet, Wingnut, all of them are really good in this one. Bebop and Rocksteady are good in it. April O'Neil is really good in this movie. She's voiced by the same actor who plays Sid in The Bear. She's really good. Her journey and her relationship with the Turtles is great. There's two things in the movie that I'm not the biggest fan of. The slight change to the origin of Splinter, I'm not the biggest fan of, although they've changed it a few times in different interpretations. So it's not something I'm like angry over. It's just that this Splinter ain't my favorite of the bunch that we've seen. Jackie Chan voicing him elevates it, and Jackie does good in the movie, but Splinter isn't the best. And it continues this weird trend that every Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles outfit, with the exception of Rise since 2012, has at least one of the turtles who kind of wants to fuck April O'Neil. It's a weird trend that they've been doing with these movies, and I don't, with the movies and a couple of the shows, and I'm not the biggest fan of it. It's the least egregious here. It's the most egregious in the Michael Bay movie, which, if you remember, one of the lines is Michelangelo saying, "My shell is tightening," meaning he was, getting a little bit getting a stiff one. But it's something that I really wish that they would stop doing in the Turtles movies, because it's just weird. But
Correct.
those are my only two
Mutants.
complaints.
And so, their idea of love, it doesn't have to be physical, and they can still pursue that on a friend level, which they do, usually with great success. And it's amazing what kind of a good friend you can be when you're not trying to fuck somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I
It's
really
the
think
thing
that kind
that
of positivity needs to get put in there. And what's up, Derek?
Oh yeah, and you do, and that happens it happens for the most part in this one, and it's really not even, oh, I want to fuck her. It's, I have a little crush on her. It's not. It's the least egregious of them. The 2012 one with Donatello and April in that series, it harmed the quality of Donatello and April's characters because it focused a little too much on it.
Donatello,
remember.
dude, I was like,
You're talking about the Christopher Nolan ones now, right? Oh, Michael Bay ones, right?
No, we're the 2012 series that was on Nickelodeon. That's what I was talking about with Donatello having that crush.
Hold on.
Oh,
Hold on, Jamel.
Chris-
Let's stop and
Ooh.
think about this. If Christopher Nolan did the Turtles, what would that look like?
Oh my! Ooh, I'm intrigued by that.
First off, they
It'll
would
be
be
a lot of
emphasis on the
headshot
ninja.
monologues. It'd be a lot of headshot
Yeah.
monologues.
Hedgehog model.
It would be
Sonic would be in it.
Headshot monologues, like single headshot.
Headshot.
Yeah. So
That
it'll
movie
be
would be
Splinter
2.5
going on
hours
about how
long.
he had to struggle to get
Yeah.
a crumb to survive in these sewers.
yeah.
Make
It'll be
a
a lot
home
of
for
that.
you
It'll
4
be a
boys. I
perfectly-
was a single rat
You know-
raising 4 of you teenage boys.
Yeah. It'll be a good movie for The Last Ronin or a good movie for
Ooh, yeah. Last Ronin by
We
Nolan would
gotta
work.
get this last
Yeah.
Ronin going. This last Ronin, that shit is gonna go so hard. And if Nolan did, see, the thing I like about Christopher Nolan is when he takes the superheroes, he at least takes them seriously.
Yeah.
And you don't really feel like he's cheesing it and being like, "Oh yeah, this is funny. Superman flies."
Fine.
You know, like
Yeah.
it's believable. And he tries
So-
to craft a world where this mess really happened.
That's
So
one
I
of the
think
things
that's
that I
one of-
love. That's one of the things I loved about him with Batman is the fact that like Batman had technology, but he needed somebody else to make that technology. So I love the inclusion of Lucius Sparks inside of it instead of having him be just this guy. Because like I loved the conversation on Instagram at one point in time was like, who the fuck builds the Batcave? Who the fuck? Bruce Wayne had to find a way to get these multimillionaires. Somebody knows outside of Dick Grayson and Barbara Gordon and obviously like Pennyworth knows motherfucking Batman's identity at this point in time.
Now, Doug, here's what happened. Here's what happened. They put a bunch of immigrants on a boat for a job, gave them work visas, took them through from the ocean to Gotham Harbor and right up into the Batcave, and they never knew where they were. And they did all their electrical work, and they were real efficient because they weren't messing around. And they got in, got out. 3 days later, the Batcave is made, and they left. And they don't know what that mess is for. They thought it was some CIA black site. No, it's just for Batman.
Yeah,
but that's what I thought happened. And then they go back to Barbados or wherever.
So that's what I love.
Yeah, it's something that the comics actually do touch on with like Bruce actually has people who do other shit for him besides like he's good at some stuff, but he clearly he outsources the shit. And I think that's something that Nolan got right with showing that, hey, Batman can't do everything all on his own. And I think that's something that the other movies kind of miss. It's just like, okay, how did the nigga get? He's smart, but he can't do everything like this. And so Lucius being included, because Lucius was on the he appeared once in Batman the animated series in the 90s, and then he was in the Batman. But I love Lucius as a character. But yeah, Mutant Mayhem, it's easily the second best theatrical TMNT movie. Nothing for me is topping the first one because it blends about as perfectly the cartoon goofiness of that 80s cartoon with the grittiness of the original comic. Like that is just they can't top it. And this one, it comes close to being at that level, but not quite. So it's a very high edger, really enjoyable. Make it a triple feature. If you got like shit, you got time on a Sunday, go watch this Oppenheimer and Barbie on the same day. Like, go ahead.
Watch 12 hours for the movies. I heard it here.
Yeah.
Oh hell yeah!
So
I encourage that.
Actually, let's go before we go too deep into it because I know you didn't watch Oppenheimer. I really wanted because the movie that we watched and because you did you watched Barbie and everything like that and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Let's talk about fucking identity. I think that this week, if anything, so I had the hardest time with social media this week because of the fact that obviously they got the memes for like the chair and shit like that. So what do we do with that? How do we identify with that? How do we like sit there and say and take some strength from that experience? That should be a learning experience for somebody. Now, granted, I am not a fan of Alabama, but I'm gonna give kudos where kudos is due, right? There should be a new identity behind your blackness, your brownness, right? But when we look at these films, like for example, like Barbie and everything like that, that's a film that's encouraging women and like actually talking about like the beauty and the power behind that beauty in women and not being able to actually be kind of like hurt anymore by the stereotypes and the actual stigma, the actual grand design that usually is marketed to women itself in between magazines and the plastic design and everything like that. That is a very important film. And even when we talked about like the actual Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I say that I think it's trash that we have like a kind of a Black April O'Neil, and it was just like kind of I feel like a forced thing. And you guys were like, nah, man, this is gonna be dope. And I get that it's a dope movie because of the fact of obviously what it is. I'm a big fan of Seth Rogen's program, but I kind of feel like it's still lame, man. I feel like it's still a capitalism or exploitation on the fact. What's the name? Derek, I don't understand. What's the name of what?
Big Sugar. Big Sugar is a podcast me and Wakia listen to.
Oh, gotcha. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it talks about how the Big Sugar companies screwed people over by bringing them in, like Bruce might have done to the Batcave.
Oh yeah. So I felt like it was a kind of an exploitation a little bit when it came to like Black April O'Neil, and I appreciate the girl is fantastic of it, but I'm asking you guys today. So how do you think you should, like, let's go for the Montgomery thing.
Damn.
What do you think the identity should be for Black people and brown people after that specific situation?
Homie, I need, please remember that question, but I need to put that on pause because I just got something.
Gotcha.
So one of the things that bothers me is when somebody who's not Black tries to talk about what Blackness is, because then it really feels like we're looking at apes in a zoo. You know what I'm saying? Look at these strong people, stronger than you could ever hope to be in this environment, you know? And as long as that's not present and I don't feel like I'm getting, you know, you looking at a display essentially of what a human is, I think I can let it slide. And that was actually something on my mind because I've been trying to think about like getting kind of structured questions for each of these films, because we watch these films and honestly, you know, we can talk about a whole lot of stuff, but I really think that adding identity into the question of what does identity have to do with this film would be a great talking point for us to jump off of.
Well, that's what I kind of wanted for this one, but that's the whole thing I had the whole time.
You know, I'm gonna sew it up. Just let me cook.
Go ahead, do your thing.
So when you talk about, you know, what does it mean for somebody to be Black, be white, and make a difference? The answer is yes. Because when I was growing up, there was very few people who was as beige as me running around. You know what I'm saying? And so they probably had more Black people on TV than they did high yellow people. You know what I'm saying? And so it's always something that I look for, especially as a African, because I was like, all right, I know what it's like to be a little boy, but they got a little white boy over here, a little Black boy over here. I'm still somewhere in the middle, y'all. Y'all still didn't give me an offering. But if you're gonna do it, the darker, you know, the better. I think the easier it is for me to slide in there. Then you go and do something like whatever the Spike Lee movie was in the Bronx or whatever, and that that was too city for me. You know what I'm saying? It was too much. But if you put a Black April O'Neil in a movie, sometimes it's a draw because you're like, hey, we're changing the character. But sometimes it's really just that actress did the best audition and she deserved the job, and it wasn't an affirmative action there. Sometimes she just she nailed it, knocked it out the park. So Jamel, what would you say about this April O'Neil? Was she the best April, or do you have other ones in the hierarchy?
For me, favorite April was always going to be from the 2003 series because that's the one that I've followed beginning to end the most. But this April, I enjoyed because one, it's her identity and her wanting to break away from what she is defined as at school. She's pursuing her dream, of course, of being a reporter, which is the first time that they've done that with the character since the 90s. So kudos to them. And it's also, again, the vibe that she has with the turtles themselves. I appreciate that. And it's also April realizing that, and the turtles at one point realizing that the things that they were trying to do in the movie, they were doing them for the completely wrong reasons. So them not needing to be hit over the head with that lesson, but them naturally learning that and them doing the right things. That I appreciated as just looking at them as characters. As far as like how she is as an April, she's easily the best theatrical April that we've gotten since movie number one. Hard for me to put anything above the first movie, but she's great. This April O'Neil is a great character. Now, I think where history going, does her Blackness play into that? Not really, but something that I think gets lost when it comes to the identity of certain characters is that it really, for some characters, is not as critical. April O'Neil is a character that can be, you can kind of change up who she is as far as culturally. She can be Black, she can be white. It's not something that's tied into her identity like T'Challa being Black or Storm. It's something that can be a little bit flexible. As long as the character elements of April O'Neil are still there, I believe that you can switch up and kind of play with that identity just so that some more people can have a shot at these different roles and open more things up for either voice actors or other just open some things up and do some things that's different. I personally didn't have a problem with them changing the race, just like I didn't have them switching it up for the Rise series where that was the first series where April O'Neil was black. For me, I'm good. For me, I'm good with who she was as a character, and I'm good with the performance as well.
Yeah, so that's what I was wondering, man, because it's like that, like, when I look at that film, and I just think about like, yeah, we need a Jackie Chan to be Master Splinter instead of a white dude pretending to do a character voice, right? But the question is that you now have this character that's completely changed over to this black person, and obviously, yes, the voice actress is a black person, but we just now came up to a point where white people can't do black voices and black people can't do white voices anymore in characters. And that's a real fucking thing. I mean, we joked about the Cleveland Brown show because of it. Even Big Mouth, when they did it with one of the characters in there, where the lady who played this character, initially she was black and the lady in real life is white. And now they transition it over to an actual black female to be playing the actual character.
They did the same with Carl from The Simpsons.
Correct. Yeah. So
they actually did a recent episode where it kind of dives into Carl as a black character. Like that's happened within the last couple of weeks.
Yeah. So
you gotta remember Hulu and check that out, huh?
Yeah, I gotta go fucking look at that out. It's on Disney Plus and shit like that. So I just
not the latest season. The current it's from the current season. So that's not on Disney Plus. It's on Hulu.
Oh, well, I don't know. So,
but Doug, you do know JT know what he's talking about. The old season, once the season come out all together, come out on Disney, and then it's on Hulu while the season is coming together. Disney don't have The Simpsons premieres.
Oh, I'm about to say, because I thought that Disney is now starting to update that shit every time. So that's why
I have watched all but like 16 episodes of The Simpsons. So yeah. Come on, cut me some slack. I know what I'm talking about.
I'm not knocking you. I'm not judging.
But you know what? Speaking of The Simpsons, my other favorite animated show of all time, King of the Hill, suffered a terrible death today. And that is the voice of Dale Gribble, which was Johnny Hardwick passed today.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, Johnny Hardwick was one of my heroes. I absolutely adored his Dale Gribble. I checked him out live on an Instagram stream or something, doing Dale Gribble as it during his live stream. It was fabulous. It was terribly entertaining, and I didn't stay long enough to satisfy my adoration of the man. So shout out to Johnny Hardwick. Yes. You will be missed, but since there's no Dale Gribble, let me just go ahead and throw out my Jishisha. You need a substitute.
So I honestly don't want any series to continue. When they lose a key voice actor like that, it feels awkward when they continue the series. I think I like when the Simpsons retires characters.
So
I like when they retire characters, but apparently, like there might be a King of the Hill reboot or something. It's just like it's gonna be weird having some different dude try and either sound like the original Dale or sound different, and it's like at that point, do you really want the series to come back? That was the problem with Boondocks. Once John Witherspoon died, it was like, all right, y'all can't.
No. The problem with Boondocks wasn't John Witherspoon. John Witherspoon dipped out before Boondocks was over. The problem with the Boondocks is Matt Magruder was not part of season 4. And so they decided.
No, I was talking about the revival that they were doing.
Revival series. No, he was there.
Revival that they were going to do.
That got shot in the foot.
Like once he died, that killed any interest that I had for a Revival.
What, Granddad getting shot in the drive-by from Uncle Ruckus?
See, that would have been out of character for Ruckus to shoot Granddad. Robert Freeman is light enough for him to be tolerated by Ruckus, so he probably wouldn't have shot him.
Come on, Jason. You are our resident Uncle Ruckus. What do you think would have happened there?
I think that All right. Y'all niggas are wild. Bro, let's move on to another fucking thing. So actually,
you can. Why can't you answer the question, Donkey?
Oh, speaking of shot, that Canadian rapper is going to jail for some years. He's gonna spend some
my name is
time in jail.
I don't recognize Canadian rappers, dog. Who you talking about? Drake? Drake going to jail?
Tory Lanez.
They that's my favorite now.
Nah, the darker one, Tory Lanez.
Old pinky toe. Then like his own uncle Eddie Murphy, long time ago. You know that nigga. That nigga just shot an old lady. What's her name? What's that heifer name? Is he shot at the toe long time ago. That
Megan Thee Stallion.
He shot that.
Are you doing stink meter?
No. Well, see,
I don't know what he's doing.
My name is Reverend Father Uncle Ruckus. See, that would be more close to no. Colonel
first off, Uncle Ruckus, guys.
Jason, just speak in your regular voice.
Now you gotta understand, a donkey like you can't do no melodious voice like this. This the only voice of the only Negro with reverse vitiligo. That's right. I got darker as I grew older. But I tell you, ain't nothing better
I'm trying to figure out where you're going
than a white woman.
Go ahead, that white woman. She got a nice little. It was good.
This is slick back.
The worst Uncle Ruckus I've ever heard. That is a It is a pimp named Slickback.
A pimp named Slickback.
You got to say the whole
name. Stink meter.
Welcome to the podcast.
I thought it was Stink Meter, dog, for real.
If Uncle Ruckus and Stink Meter had a podcast, it'd be just us two.
That is a pimp name. Yeah, that's a pimp name.
Nah, see,
territory.
Pimp name Slickback would talk like this, a little bit more, but I'm not as good. My voice is not as gangster.
That is Riley, dog. You were bringing Riley up. What?
Riley? Damn. No, Huey, that be like this.
Say your mom was caught giving up neck in the tower room at the country club.
Now, just saying, if I was walking in the bathroom at the same time and I was trying to take a piss, what would you do? A, move out the way? Like, I feel like that's more Riley.
I like you got the mannerisms to there, but that's
the closest one that you've done so far.
Bro, my voice has not been good this whole week. It's not been good.
Yeah. It was Riley.
That was Riley.
It's hard to do a voice from a woman sometimes.
Yes. Which is a fantastic one because
I don't think Regina King gets enough credit. I don't think she gets enough credit for doing both Huey and Riley as well.
I don't think she gets enough credit. Full stop. Period. Yeah. Just period.
Yeah. So
next week, Regina King, my Velvet Freight Train. Okay.
Velvet Freight Train. That's your favorite Velvet Freight. Just because.
Are you gonna pick a Regina King movie for us to watch?
No, I do you know how many times I've seen Enemy of State? For crying out loud, ABC used to run that when they had nothing else. I've seen Enemy of State like 7 times.
For my Poetic Justice, or you never seen Poetic
Justice? Wasn't a good movie.
Oh fuck! I was just. What's another Regina? There's a bunch of movies that she's in. That she's pretty good in. Man.
An episode of 227.
Yeah, just go watch Watchmen. That's Regina King at her best. Just go watch Watchmen.
You can do that
on HBO Max.
Or The Harder They Fall. The Harder They fall, she's actually.
She was a badass in there. Yeah. She was good in that one.
No, that could.
But she wasn't the lead in that one. She was definitely the lead in Watchmen.
Yeah. We could do Ray, where she played the side chick.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, she was a side chick.
I haven't watched Ray in so long.
I'm gonna do Ray. She did good in that one too.
There's been no reason to. Ray is not a movie. Sorry.
Nah. Ray is not a movie for what? I like that thought line.
No, I was gonna say Ray is not one of them. Like, I want to watch this frequently type movies. It is a once every couple years type movie.
Right.
Once
every couple years. It's a. I'm gonna watch it this decade, and if one of my niggas ain't seen it, I'm gonna watch it next decade. And then the third decade that I gotta do that shit, you just go watch it on your own.
Yeah. So, bro, let's go back to the main topic. Bro, we got off the fucking rails with the conversation. So
No, I'm just kidding.
Beauty the bomb at a beauty salon with a baby.
So
Under her underarm, she said, "I can tell you rock. I can tell by your charm. First girls, you gotta fly."
y'all niggas are taking this way over than it needs to be.
Are you looking for the
Just looking
one?
for the one. Have you
her?
seen her? My second tell me she gonna have ass like Serena.
Trina,
Jennifer Lopez.
shit, we go past.
Jennifer Lopez. Okay.
And you got
So
so a movie for the night.
Ass.
A movie for the night, ladies and
Okay,
gentlemen. Is She Devil.
yeah, the movie is tonight. She's devil. Yes.
When you get on me, Leo, ask for a white girl.
Oh God, damn it, move, bro! You done fucking made me lose track.
Listen, none of us can identify with that. Okay.
So, yeah.
No, we don't know what that's like.
So,
Speaking of that ties me to our movie this week because a white girl got left for another one.
Bruh. All right, niggas. I'm trying to do the transition. I'm trying to do the smoothest.
All right, go right ahead. Do your transition.
So, fuck. I written it down and now fuck. I gotta move it away again. So with
all
that,
right,
man,
look, I'll stall until you can come up with it.
No, man. I got it. I'm going to smooth it out right now.
You sure? Because I could do Georgia. I could do Georgia on my mind. I could do that right now. You know what I'm saying?
You don't need to do none of that at all. So
Georgia,
God, the whole day through is like an old sweet song. And keep my little Georgia on my mind.
Are you trying right now, History? Can you try?
I'm trying.
You actually try. You got a good singing voice, or that's the best you got? If that's the best,
I said Georgia.
Hey, so what about that transition?
Bro, I'm trying to, but this nigga keeps giving me off topic. All right.
I was trying to sing Georgia, not you.
All right. So with that, y'all.
You know what?
As we've had this past week, man, we learned on. God damn.
Sometimes you just gotta irrigate.
Jamal, bro, don't even worry about it, bro. I was gonna do it smooth, and I was gonna. God damn it, this nigga.
All right, was that
was this supposed to be the salty? This was supposed to be the salty.
Do you need more time?
No, I don't need more time. I got the transition.
Good. All right.
Dog. I was transitioning. You know what, Jamal? Bro, what is our fucking movie of the week, bro? Just tell us. For time purposes, we have been doing this for like 10 minutes now on the clock. Jamal, what is
it has been 3 minutes exactly. I don't know what you're talking about.
It's been like 10 minutes. It's been a whole fucking like journey of watching this. This is a Michael Jackson Thriller video of distractions. But
all right. So this movie this week, it is a black comedy from 1989. It is She Devil, starring Roseanne Barr in her first big film, her film debut. Meryl Streep in her first crossover to comedy. Ed Begley Jr. We also have Linda Hunt. I always thought Linda Hunt was the lady was actually real life Edna Mode from The Incredibles. Like they look a lot alike. If you've seen Edna Mode, you've seen Linda Hunt, but that's besides the point. This movie is based on a novel by the name of The Life and Loves of a She-Devil by a British person by the name of Faye Weldon. And it tells the story of a woman by the name of Ruth Patchett, which is this description of her on Wikipedia is mean. Ruth is a dumpy, overweight housewife who exacts revenge on her husband and all the hilarity and antics that ensues. So it is hard to remember because of how wild she's been over pretty much the last decade. But Roseanne Barr was once upon a time one of the biggest stars. Was one of the biggest stars in comedy. This movie was made and sort of released between in a break during the first season of her show Roseanne, and this really did not necessarily elevate her, but it did expose her in a different light. And of course, Meryl Streep got to flex some of her comedic muscles in this one as well. So we're gonna start things off with the discussion segment of the movie. And we're gonna start with probably for me, who is the man who now has the gold medal in Ain't Shit Niggas in movie history. That is
God,
Ed
dog.
Begley Jr.
Off the bat,
Ed
this
Begley
nigga's worse
Jr.
than
as
that
Bob.
nigga Jody. Off the bat.
I owe Jody an apology because this man he is just great. He is just aggressively horrible to his wife in this movie. We see in the beginning, we see Ruth. She just wants to please her husband. She just wants to please Bob. Bob he's an asshole to the 9th degree. And we see it right away at this party where we meet the primary 3 characters. This man, Ruth accidentally spills some wine on Mary, played by Meryl Streep, on her dress. And of course, Bob and Mary, they meet, fall in love. Bob says, and I quote, about getting the stain out. And Mary brings up his wife, and he says, that stain's already set in. Like, you refer to your wife in your marriage as a stain. So, JT,
He was
expound on this motherfucker.
On the dress, which needed
it
the
was a
salt
double
and
meaning.
the Perrier.
Because he looked over at Ruth too. He was like, stain's already set in. Like, I interpreted it as a double meaning of not only the stain, but also he hates his marriage. He's a piece of shit. So, JT, what do you think of Bob in this one? Because Bob really is. He is just something.
This loyal ass nigga Bob, man. Bob is a piece of shit, and Bob gets everything coming to him. One of the things that really bothered me about this movie was that they made it she-devil when it really should have just been like the perfect revenge is success. She could have just gone and done her own thing and while it was on the way, fuck him over a little bit. But they had to do the she-devil thing. And I'm telling you, Bob had this shit coming like a Chicago song.
History, what about you? What did you think of Mr. Bob in this one?
Bro, the first
He's also married.
I'm about to say I'm fucking married, and
fuck that motherfucker Bob.
Yeah,
he was in the MF quite literally.
Bob made the first 15 minutes, like nearly 30 minutes of this movie, feel like this movie was gonna be a complete dumpster because he was so fucking bad. And I was like, I absolutely can't get behind this comedy. I could not get behind. I'm a thorough fan of like black comedy, like that dark comedy. I guess I hate saying black comedy, dark comedy. But
you know what? I'm gonna argue with you and say that there wasn't enough of that. There wasn't enough comedy, black comedy in there for it to be comedy.
Yeah,
because black comedy is when some bad shit happens, but it's actually really funny.
Yeah,
and there just wasn't enough bad stuff happening that was also funny.
Nah, man, I couldn't fuck with it, man. I couldn't fuck with it at all. Honestly, I sat through
it was unfuckable
2 hours, yeah, and I was watching Bob, and I was like, dog, how is his parts funny? How? What is his purpose other than being the fucking like antagonist to not just Ruth, but then Mary and even the side chicks and that
Olivia and
bro,
he came home late with Mary because at some point, folks, in just one of the most that's fucked up scenes, when the marriage fully breaks down. It's a dinner with Bob, with Ruth, their kids, and Bob's parents. Accidentally, a gerbil ends up in some French mushroom or some type of mushroom soup.
Yeah,
and it is, of course, it's gross. That is something that always sticks out to me. Like, ugh, that is just ugh. But Bob then goes off and, it is just he pretty much look. I didn't want to marry
in front of everybody.
Bro, he destroyed his wife, dog. He got some good pussy that day, and then he just was like, "I'm feeling really cocky." So I'm not gonna lie to you, dog. I I paused this movie and I stopped watching it because I was watching it in the middle of the day. My wife was doing her trainings and shit, and my kids was upstairs. I was like, let me knock out this goddamn movie. And so it was Tuesday, and I usually don't watch movies earlier. I just usually watch it Wednesdays so I can make sure I remember it, but then also on top of that, like, I can kind of just gotta go in it and be kind of fresh and whatever like that. It's a day night for me and my wife usually. And so I paused the movie and I stopped and I told my wife, I said, bro, can you watch this movie with me? And then I started actually going about watching the actual movie with my wife, man. And no, you're not. So with that, I watched the movie with her, bro, and she had to tell me like some of the parts that actually was super important for women. And I felt like this movie was definitely directed to women. So I kind of get where the movie was interesting to Jamel's mom, and then that's why it kind of carried over to him. And that's the only reason why. It's going to get to my rating later. But with that, like Bob cheating on his wife and talking trash to his wife and everything like that. The idea that he simply was just like, oh, well, the assets and shit like that, that fucking hit like so terribly. And it was so fucking wrong how you put that, man, because usually if you're a Christian man, you know what I mean? Or if you're a spiritual man leaning over to the Christian side, you usually have, you mean your God, then you got your wife, kids, and everybody else, right? And so it was so fucking like deliberate, the anger that he was directed towards her, but then he was also forgetting about her all at the same time. You would have never thought that Ruth's character was a character in the movie, in which maybe they did a good job by like capitalizing on that, is that she's not supposed to mean anything to these characters who inside of that household. And now you have her when this house blows up. Now you actually have Ruth now becoming Rose. So I felt like Bob, man, the whole time I kept feeling like this nigga ain't shit. He ain't shit the whole time, bro. And he's making this movie not comfortable for me to watch throughout the whole time. So yeah, I hate that. I
can definitely see that.
Yeah, my wife had to
Well,
be.
let's get to Root. Let's get to Root, because we were talking about identity and and I think you were
stirs up immediately
Mm-hmm.
without no divorce papers and nothing, just left, still married, can't testify against him in court.
So that was what my wife kind of slid to me, is that fact that because of the fact that he was a man, and this is during the 80s, 70s time, if you want to say time period, the stereotype is that the women, because it's an 89 movie, and so the stereotype is
taking place in they didn't have car phones in the 70s. Anyway, go on.
What I mean by that is the mindset. The mindset is that. And so it's not like during this time, they weren't giving women their due when it comes to like film, and then also on top of that in the workplace. This is still also during a time when, you were the independent, hardworking woman. Films were coming out, TV shows was out, and shit like that. So, because of the fact that he's supposed to be the man of the house, he's supposed to be taking care of the house and everything like that, and she's a stay-at-home mom, all that shit is in his name. So when the house blew up and everything like that, technically all that investigation and shit like that, that all has to go to him. So with that, the actual point makes more sense. You got to think about it, man. Women were given the right to vote before they were able to actually hold a credit card, and that was like in the 50s, late 50s and 60s during that time. So it kind of makes sense what her plan was and why she kind of did everything that way she moved. That makes sense? Jamel, boy, you go straight face and like you just done.
I'm listening to what you're saying.
No, I asked the question and both y'all are like, but you were for sure. You were like,
I'm listening. I'm trying to pay attention to what you're saying.
Oh no, I respect it. It's okay. I get it. I'm not
JT, what about you? How would you compare the Rose persona that Ruth took on as compared to who she was originally for the first part of the movie?
The funny thing is, a lot of people often feel like they have to change their name to be somebody different. I don't know what the hell wrong with you folk. Just be who the hell you are. And so that's a personal take, but at the end of the day, what Ruth did was try to transform herself into Rose so she could go fuck some shit up at an old folks home. And she didn't even do that much there. All she
She
did
did.
was switch out the sedatives for caffeine pills and made the old people have a good time. And I don't understand how you could say, "Ooh, this is part of her whole grand master plan," because her whole plan was just to throw pee on the bed. You know what I'm saying? Like that was it. That
So
was her grand master plan. I'm gonna totally make her look like she pissed the bed so she can't be up in here. Mary Fisher's mother. I tell you, that was a weak case. What we didn't get a bit of Ruth's brilliance to be believable and to carry us through the rest of the slog that this movie was. And so her little transition to Rose was just a bunch of bullshit. It was basically because she didn't know who she was. And you got to understand how identity works in a marriage. The woman changes her name to take the identity of the man because she is taking on part of his identity. She
mhm.
is now part of him. But when a man decides he's going to dispose of his wife and go with the secretary or whatever at the accounting firm, Olivia, honey, I love you, honey. That's her name, really? Yeah, how funny. But you saw how she played old girl, and she was like, "Oh, just tell him how you feel. I love you." And then he was out. And
Mm.
so it felt like Roseanne Barr's character Ruth was a reaction as opposed to her finally figuring out who she was and where she wanted to go. And I thought that was a moment that I'm sure somebody thought was empowering at the time or whatever, but the whole she devil angle I had a problem with. And so the way that they went about it was stupid. They could have meant, Rose goes on a journey of self-discovery and finds out along the way she could screw over her ex-husband, who absolutely deserves it, but we never got any of that. It really felt like Ruth was running from something, and that's why she took on the Rose persona to me.
So
What are your thoughts?
I'm about to say I
I'm
feel
gonna take
differently. Go ahead. You go ahead. Finish what you're saying. You sound like you were going to say something else, JT. All right, cool. So I feel differently, man. I feel like I think that Rose accidentally found herself in the midst of her having her plot and her revenge. I think that she had everything planned out. That's why we saw her kind of go down the list calculated. So the intentional plan was to be able to actually give Bob and Mary the thing that they initially said. Because you got to remember, Mary said that she felt so bad that their families were without their babies and this and other stuff, and she was doing this fake crying in the side of the car. But then also on top of that, like you had her drop off her kids. We can't forget about that. And I think that this is kind of
Oh
trash.
no, I'm gonna get to that in a second.
I'm about to say that was kind of trash that she dropped her fucking kids off at that house. But then I think the reason why she thought about the mom and started working at the actual nursing facility is because of the fact that she knew that it had to be something imperfect. And the reason why you had to put your mom inside of this
The reason that
facility.
she started working there is because she saw Mary Fisher on the TV when she was
Yes.
getting her hair done crap in the first scene.
Yeah. So I think that was a
So this
plan.
was that was part of her plan to get a job there.
Yeah.
That made sense.
So she was trying to get
But
back
go
at
on.
Mary Fisher at that time. So that's why I say I think that was a smart plan at the time.
But still, history. This goes into what I was saying about how she is a completely reactive person. She is reacting to all of these other people.
Mhm.
She did not find herself. All she found was revenge.
I think that she found herself later on in the movie. I think it just wasn't shown well. So that's where I think that's where the part where she started to find that actual employment.
That's why I
business.
can say it didn't happen because it wasn't shown well.
Yeah,
You
it
didn't
wasn't
convince
shown
me it
well.
happened.
But I think that that's where the satisfaction came is the fact that
If you want to argue
she
about
have her
that
own
last scene where there was walking and the whole Rose crew done came and
Yeah.
mob deep, cool. But that really just said to me she had success and she had a lot of other petty women behind her. That's what that said because they didn't build Rose out to be nothing great.
Kind
even
of,
though
yeah.
she was actually helping people. Because she
Yeah.
was using them as her personal army of vengeance, not
And that's what you
actually
said.
trying to empower these other women. That's the problem with this film. So this film is low-key toxic as fuck all around.
See, here is
I
my
can
one thing,
understand that.
and this is part of my transition that I was going to say earlier. My segue earlier. I was going to say, I think that this movie is not meant for us. I think that this movie is not meant
Yeah.
for us, and I think that we've had a couple of movies meant for us because
Meant for your mama, huh?
I think that this was definitely be a movie for your moms, and this is a movie for like women empowerment in some form or fashion. I would still say that like I could see, I definitely see where you're coming from because they did not develop some points. They forgot a lot of fucking points in this film. So yeah, she went to work at the nursing home, but like, all right, so what we do with this information once the mom left, you still worked at this nursing home. So I wish that we kind of would have had that
She got
moment.
fired.
Like,
She got fired for
Yeah.
not talking about the pee.
yeah,
And so like that little problem immediately, wrapped itself up, but she acted like it was all part of her plan to get
Yeah.
fired and then bring Hopper and take Hopper's money and use
Yeah.
or Hooper or whatever the hell and use her money
But
to go start her next phase. That
That's
didn't
what-
make any sense.
that's what I'm saying. I don't
Yeah,
think
that's a point that could have been explained a little bit more.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that
and
point,
seeing more of the relationship between Hooper and Rose develop.
Because
That could have
I
been
thought
done a
I
little
thought
bit
that was a great little duo right there, but they really didn't do nothing together. They sat down on a bus together after eating donuts, and that was it. It was
Yes.
kiss thieves from then on, and though we don't see Hooper no more for the rest of the film.
yes. So
I
that's
thought that
kinda
was a
my-
great little
that's kinda
character,
going into my
and she
point.
should have.
That's kind of going to my point.
Come
Is
on,
the fact
what's
that
your
I felt like she got the mom actually to go back home. What do you do after that? And then I don't think that firing was a plan. I think that fire coincidentally happened.
What she did.
So that
You
made
gotta
no
remember her
sense.
little list. She was coming for his castle, for his
Mhm.
family, for his career,
Mhm.
and for his freedom.
Yeah.
So she ruined his castle, which he moved to a big peach ass castle. And honestly, Meryl Streep looked like Peach anyway.
Mhm.
So what she did was she fucked that up with kids and the mother-in-law and a whole bunch of other shit.
Yeah.
And she ruined the honeymoon-esque-ness of them just being alone together and having all of these resources. And he could actually tell her what she couldn't do because he was the one keeping the books.
Yeah.
And she stacked that deck against him. And let me tell you right now, Sylvia Miles, the mother-in-law, the mom, Mary Fisher's mom, was the best part of this film. She was hilarious. 100% G. Loved her. More of that. But all she did was switch from sedatives to caffeine pills. Didn't even sneak her a beer. She just said, "Oh, you're looking lovely," and that's all it takes to get in an old person's will. Y'all go get a job at an old folks' home. Tell people they look nice every day. So you know you're gonna be a recipient when they pass on. That's what that shit felt like. It was tacky. But she was.
Y'all remember in
I worked at a nursing home, dog. It don't take much to a person like you over there, bro.
Y'all remember in What's Love Got to Do with It? That scene, that scene where Ike Turner said, "What I'm gonna do with 2 more kids." That was Bob's attitude when Ruth brought those children to
his own kid showed up. God damn.
His own children.
What am I gonna do with
like
2 more
that?
kids?
What am I gonna do with my own children that came from? It's a lot. Meryl Streep, her character of Mary. This is, bruh. I feel bad for the kids are the characters who I feel the worst for because they got abandoned twice. The little girl, let's be honest, Garcia was kind of creepy with her. That scene towards the end where they were dancing and she was just all on him. That was like, oh yeah. And Mary thankfully did the right thing and be like, "Hey, you're fired, Garcia." But then she slapped that little girl, and I'm sorry. I laughed.
That though. That's funny.
I laughed at that scene.
She needed that shit. So this is why I say like this is where I think that Rose was trash. It's because of the fact that like
they were bad parents.
You should have dropped it. That's the thing. You gotta kind of assume that shit was gonna happen. You dropped your kids off with a dude who abandoned them. So, needless to say,
and then he abandoned. Wait. He abandoned them twice. Like
twice.
that's 3 times in this movie. Because then he just stopped being around marrying them too.
Yeah.
Goddamn, Bob ain't shit.
So, yeah. So
Bob
he
is
abandoned them.
the most not shit white dude I have seen in cinema since. God dang, who's the bully in McGee and Me? He came around during the fight before Christmas, but other than that, yeah, him.
Yeah, I don't.
Y'all
fuck
don't
with
know
him.
McGee and Me, do you?
No,
Yeah,
I
He's
never,
up there with
y'all ain't go to enough
non-slave.
youth group to hit McGee and Me.
no, I didn't see that before.
If it weren't for movies that had like actual slave owners, I'd be like, man, Bob would be top tier. Like I can't put him above Calvin Candy, with the Mandingo fighting. But Bob is just for like a regular dude. He's a piece of shit. He is
No.
next level.
The reason you can't put him above is because Leonardo did a better job at this character. That's why. Because Bob is as big a piece of shit as that motherfucker right there. Where it came to racism, he was about them bitches.
See, I'm about to say, I feel like Bob still ain't shit compared to Leonardo DiCaprio and Samuel L. Jackson character in that Django Unchained. And the only key reason is because of the fact that at least
Why you bring Sam Jackson into it though? That was the best house nigga I ever did see.
I want to say at least he had he had some dedication. That's what I say. At least that nigga had some form of fashion or dedication. This dude Bob was not caring about fucking nobody.
Didn't give a damn about nobody, not even himself.
Yes. He didn't give a fuck about nobody. He didn't care not one drop a bit. And I mean, at least Leonardo DiCaprio. He was.
I wrote down.
Go ahead.
Finish history. I'm gonna bring up my notes.
Oh no, I was gonna say at least fucking Leonardo DiCaprio. He was initially gonna be nice to a couple of people, but fucking Samuel Jackson kept having to remind him, "You a slave owner. You was a superior nigga. You was superior compared to these
You're better
niggas.
than us. You're better than me."
Yeah.
Keep in mind, it's better to be a slave than it was to be dead. So that's a benefit.
That was a whole fucking thing, man.
Just remember, Sam Jackson was getting the best of slavery by developing his managerial skills at the plantation.
Yes.
This video brought to you by PragerU.
Yes. So, with that, man, Jamel, tell us about Garcia character, man, and some of those other side characters. While JT's getting back,
Garcia was the side piece butler of Meryl Streep's character. Before we get to the side characters, we actually haven't talked about Meryl Streep as Mary in this movie.
Do we need to?
First comedic role. I actually enjoyed Meryl Streep in this one because she is the most annoying white. She is annoyingly white in this movie, and just like her mental breakdown. It reminded me, and I don't want this to seem mean. It kind of reminded me the way that Britney Spears was going through it in like the mid 2000s, and it was almost right after she took Kevin Federline from Shar Jackson, and then almost immediately shit just started going downhill for Britney. It didn't get quite that level for Meryl in this movie, but still, to see her career get fucked up, it was so fucked up. Yeah, it could have been her dog dying. Okay, that's another scene that I laughed at because both the dogs were running towards the cliff, and then the golden retriever just stopped. He was like, "Whoa!" And then the dog kept going over. It was
smarter than the poodle, and the poodle just jumps over like, "I'm gonna get the stick." Dips into the ocean, and all you heard was a splash. You didn't actually see the dog dash on the rocks. What I thought is they should have had a shark. There's a shark! Ah! And then she would have passed out because she would have seen the poodle get eaten even after so she would have been concerned that the poodle died. Poodle splash in the water. Oh, you're safe! But no, a shark comes and eats the poodle. That would have been my scene.
Crooklyn did it better. Crooklyn did it better.
Yeah. Right.
What I was gonna say is that
fucking couch.
If you're gonna kill,
this is the last time I'm gonna bring up a thing to compare another thing to. But do y'all remember that South Park episode where Ike has an affair with his teacher? And so the end, and I think history knows what I'm saying. It was at the very end when the teacher and Ike are running towards the edge of the building, and Ike, he looks like he's gonna jump off, but he stops, and the teacher just looks up to Ike, it just right on the ground. That's how it was with them dogs in this movie.
Yeah.
That golden retriever was like, nah, I'm good. And the poodle went over. It's sad that the dog died, but it was a hilarious scene. But Meryl Streep, karma got her, but like JT said, it could have gotten her a lot worse. Like she was exposed to being older than she said was. Her career took a little bit of a hit. Her house got fucked up. Her mama got brought back into her life. Bob found yet another young thing to cheat with. I think karma could have been her a little bit more. Like maybe some of her hair could have fell out.
Her age and her real kid got exposed. She was 34 in media, but then come to find out she was 41.
Mama kept calling her a hoe. Damn.
Yeah.
She's a slut.
Yeah, and then she abandoned her own son.
Dog. That was cold. Like, but Meryl, again, the actual mechanics of the performance, I think Meryl did a good job. Like you could see, she got some comedic chops in this movie.
She was fabulous in this movie. Unfortunately, she didn't have a lot to work with because her character was just a rich harlot. That's all it was. And so can you imagine Tyler Perry if he was a man-ho? That was all of her character. That was it. No Medea, no nothing else. Just the hoishness and the big mansion. Man, so y'all remember in Diary of a Mad Black Woman, that was Tyler Perry's house they was rolling up to. So that was the kind of shit where like she had a goddamn castle. That's why she looked like Princess Peach. But the whole way that her little comeuppance happened was like, oh, you wrote a bad book because you tried to base it off of your life. And she was like, I think the housewives are gonna love this. That shit was whack, dog. That was whack because somebody should have loved it. If the housewives didn't love it, then they should have read the book. They should have gotten the book. But I don't see how she couldn't hawk that shit. Even if she made it like, and so what they made it seem like is because you shacked up with Bob, you can't write anything good because Bob ain't nothing. But they didn't really bring that across. It didn't really seem like it was because of Bob, this book sucks. And that's really what it should have been. Because this movie is not about being a she-devil. This movie is about Bob is a piece of shit. And he's going to get what's coming to him. And we didn't get that. So every time the movie subverts from Bob is a piece of shit and he going to get what's coming to him, it gets worse. And so really Meryl Streep's character was, I think her best scene was when she got out of the car after seeing Bob with his little grabby hands and his initialized
ring that she gave him.
Yep, up on the copier. And that was when I thought that was Meryl Streep's best scene, getting out the car acting distraught. I said, dang, she does distraught so well. So well. God. But then the problem is she really didn't suffer much repercussion from that. And it didn't really feel like a wake-up call, even when she went in with the lawyer, and the lawyer was like, oh, yeah, but it came from your account, right? Your girlfriend's account. And she was like, oh, you're in bed. So anyway, I took like you had some specific opinion. It was so the movie was close to being good, but instead of coming with a positive spin, it was very passe and old school and talking about dog. Come on now, history. You can't tell me that goddamn red eye flash at the end of the movie was any good. You can't tell me that it was any good. It was trash. It was a trash ass idea. It was a trash ass execution. It was a trash ass special effect. Okay, all practical. Of that shit was bogus. And what they did is they tried to make Roseanne look crazy instead of like a woman who is trying to go get her own and be independent. And they really took away from that at the end of the day. This movie could have been good and could have been empowering. Instead, Barbie is more empowering than this shit.
Well, that's the problem.
Review on Barbie.
Well, that's the thing about Barbie is the fact that apparently Barbie is significantly more empowering, and it was supposed to be. You don't get a lot of this. And so I was listening to this podcast. I listened to Fat Man Beyond with Kevin Smith and Mark Bernardin. And Mark Bernardin said that this is the best description I could think of from what I read about Barbie. But also, this is what Kevin Smith also agreed to as well. Barbie is a Black Panther for white women.
Dog, huh? Yeah. Ah.
That's what it was.
Everything I'm hearing, that sounds about right. I'm
That's what it
excited to
was.
go
Yeah.
see the movie, but you know me, I might not pay no money to go see it, so I just might wait
So
till it come out on HBO or whatever.
yeah. So I think that you're being generous to this film though, because this is also a film during the same time, like I said, like we talked about earlier. Spike Lee was making movies. You can't say that this movie would have measured up against Do the Right Thing. You can't say that this movie would have measured up against like any of like Eddie Murphy shit during that time. So
Especially not
that's
from the
just
rating I
too.
just gave it on IMDb. Yeah. No.
Yeah, you mean if we go to the 80s and 90s, I just don't think that this was a good movie. I think that this movie didn't tell the story that it's supposed to be, and I think that this movie,
Yeah.
yes, was its target audience and demographic probably was women, and I just don't think that this one did a good job by making me feel other than as a husband. I guess if I was a single dude, I don't know about you, Jamel, but as a single dude, and probably didn't have a concept of like being in a relationship with a woman long term, I probably would not have given a fuck about this movie or thought that the dude was doing anything too much wrong. I just felt like as a husband, I'm looking at him saying, "Oh, well, I don't want to go out my way to make a U-turn when you're about to clearly drive 75 miles to drop another person off. You can't even drop your wife off at the front door."
Yeah, that was stupid. That was stupid.
So
You
they got
do
some
that
dudes.
because you're embarrassed about your shit.
I'll say this: like, I don't think the marriage thing has anything. I think it's just kind of like decency to see how wrong this is.
Yeah,
Like, I don't think you have to have been married or been in a relationship to realize, oh, this person is terrible to the
Yeah.
person he's choosing.
okay.
He chose to marry. So that's the one point where it's like, nah, I saw this as a kid, and even I picked up like, oh, Bob's in the wrong. Like, now I haven't seen this movie before today. I didn't see this movie since the 90s, since like the late 90s VHS days. So it's been a while. I still get some enjoyment out of this movie. One, again, I like some of the performances in this movie, even with the writing choices. I think Roseanne does a fairly decent job. I think Ed Begley Jr. is great as a piece of shit. Meryl Streep was fun, and Sylvia Miles as the mom, she was good too. The other characters, the side characters that you were referring to, none really stand out because it's not much material that they're given. Only Garcia has like more of a recurring role, and he was fine because he did reject. Like, he was at first the main squeeze of Mary as her butler, but then once Bob comes into the picture, game changed. It was funny watching him be shitty towards Mary, but then it gets ruined with the last scene that he's in with the girl on his hips and them dancing. That really that took me out of liking Garcia. So I think this movie could have worked a lot better if it were written by, if it had some stronger writing and dialogue. And I do understand y'all point of it being it's not as empowering in a lot of these ways. I also think ultimately the revenge that happens on Bob isn't enough. He got the fine and he got 18 months in jail. But I get the feeling after watching the movie again and seeing how Ruth was at the very end, and I want to know what y'all think.
She took that nigga back.
Do you think Ruth is going? Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
That's exactly what I was thinking.
It has the vibe of she's gonna take him back.
Well, that's what
she kept saying. You can't give up.
Yeah, that's the same thing that she kept saying throughout the whole time. Is that, well, she's gonna make him see that like she's supposed to be the one that he's supposed to be with. So it sounded like she was gonna take that nigga back. So yeah, that's some bullshit.
And that leads into another kind of issue that I have, and it's her not having as much negative energy towards Bob as she did in Mary. And I think that happens, and you'll see that on social media where women will get cheated on and will be more angry at the person that the significant other cheated with, instead of being more mad, directing the anger towards the person who did the actual cheating. Like, I think it's cool if you got some anger towards, if you are a woman and you like angry at your husband's mistress, but you really need to save the majority of the smoke for the husband, because he knew he was married. And you see this in a lot of TV shows too. Like not as much now, but I think in the 80s and 90s, it really was you were a home wrecker and the anger is towards you instead of the guy who actually did the perpetrating of the cheating. So
Yeah.
if those things were a little bit stronger, and I think if like some of the performances were a little bit tighter, I think this would be remembered a lot more fondly than it already is, than it actually is.
Yeah, see, my thing is that like, all right. So while you was talking,
Don't bring me back now. I'm about to roll up.
okay, go. Oh, well, you're fine. You're on YouTube, man. You good? They got fucking whole tutorial videos
Oh,
probably on
okay.
that.
Shit.
We on YouTube
About
and
to blow this drone, children. Don't
So-
smoke.
As long as it's
Yeah.
not crack, you fine.
So here's my thing. I'm gonna go through this list. Just maybe I'm gonna just name about maybe 7. So popular movies of 1989: Harlem Nights, Nightmare on Elm Street, Stephen King's Pet
Come on,
Cemetery, Batman.
Not
Back-
whoa. When you say Nightmare on Elm Street, we got to clarify. It's not one of the fondly remembered
Dream-
ones.
It's
one of
Dream
them-
Child. It's still Stephen. It's still a pretty popular movie though. It was Nightmare on Elm Street. Dream Child number 5. Back to the Future 2, Cyborg, Friday the 13th 7, and Ghostbusters 2, Bill and Ted Excellent Adventure, Indiana Jones, The Last Crusade, Puppet Master, Halloween 5. I said Pet Cemetery already. Tango and Cash. So a lot of these fucking movies are, the more and more I keep going down this list, is fucking like male driven. So I can see where this film is trying to stand out on its own, and it can't, because of the fact that obviously it has a lot of fucking films. Because you gotta think about it, these are the 80s. The 80s and the late 70s is the year of the fucking like super action hero, right? Guy. So like, I just I think that this movie didn't have it tried to have an identity and it couldn't. So Meryl Streep's character didn't work for me. She came off as the same type of woman that fucking Arnold Schwarzenegger would go try to save in Last Action Hero and shit like that. Roseanne Barr just came off as the naggy wife over the telephone. So it really didn't do nothing to make itself have its own special identity itself. It just,
I can dig it.
It made women seem bitter towards each other, and I get it. So here's the only reason why I'm okay with Roseanne giving Mary that fucking heat as much as Bob, and the reason being is because the blatant disrespect she gave her while they was in the ride to the car and at the party. She got that shit spilled on her. She walked away. She knew. Bob said that he was married to her, and she still pursued. So she knew what the fuck she was given.
But she's a slut, as
So
her
she's
mama said.
Yeah. So she deserved that fucking energy. She deserves all of that energy. My dilemma is Ruth loses my respect a little bit because she dropped her kids off at this fucking woman's house.
And that
she
was
knew-
raggedy. Like, she didn't need to get rid of her kids to exact her plan. All she had
Correct.
to do was just go to the work at the hospital.
Yes. Here is my
And
only
I
one
honestly
defense.
think it would have made it. It would have made Ruth a stronger character if she kept the kids.
Yeah. But here's my one part. I will say, them kids deserve that shit though at the same time. Because they
Yeah,
were
but
being
also
so
it wasn't
fucking, they were being
black
so
lady.
trash towards that mom, dog. Even the daughter was
Let
like,
me ask you
well,
a
at least you're
question.
gonna come home
Let me
and shit
holler
like
at
that.
Let me holler at you. Let me holler at you. Let me holler at you. I'm gonna holler at you.
Go ahead, Pimp.
What if this was a black movie? How different would it be? Because I tell you what, the mama wouldn't have got rid of the babies. She would have took that ain't shit nigga shit, put it all out on the curb, or she would have put it all in the basement, so she made sure it burned down. And then she would have put all her kid shit out. So they would have been out there and they didn't lose everything.
Mhm.
Then she would have moved them into a motel. And then the kids would have been bitching. Why do we got to live in a motel? You want to live with your dad in this mansion? Yeah, we want to live in Peach's castle. Let's go.
Mhm.
And then it would have, okay, honey, you can have it your way. But I'm not going to be able to pick you up for a while, baby. It's going to be about a year or two. And then, that would have been a discussion.
Yeah.
But all of this shit didn't happen because the movie wasn't very dark.
Yeah.
When Garcia's the
It's
darkest person
weird.
in this film.
Go ahead, Jamel.
No, I was gonna say real quick. You mentioned some of the movies that came out in 1989. I just went to the box office, and it's weird going back to a year where it's not overpopulated by Disney movies within the top 10. Like there's only 3 Disney movies in the top 10, as opposed to how it is most
Disney
years.
doesn't even make great
But
movies. Let's be honest.
like that was just something that you kind of like you brought up that year in film, but it could have been like the kid point. I think is the biggest knock against Ruth because she didn't act. She could have kept the kids. So if it was a black film, of course, somebody Loretta Devine might have played Ruth. I think you could have had somebody like Robin Givens do the Meryl Streep role. Blair Underwood,
Perfect.
Blair Underwood would have been Bob. So then we've got Black
Blair Underwood
She-Devil.
is a great ain't shit nigga. I tell you what, he's a
Who?
great one. Blair
The
Underwood.
one time that he was actually decent was in Set It Off. That's the one movie where he was actually a good dude. Everything else, he is the right.
Eve's Bayou? No, that was with Sam Jackson, right? What was the
That
one
was Sam
that goes
Jackson.
down in? But
Eve's
the one he
Bayou was Eve's
in-
Bayou was whatchamacallit,
I'm not
Sam
talking about
Jackson.
Eve's Bayou. I'm talking about the one that Blair Underwood is actually in.
Fuck.
Medea's Family Reunion.
No.
Nah, dog. Nah, he was the bad guy.
He's in that one, and he ain't shit in that one.
Yeah, but no, Blair Underwood was the bad guy in one of these movies, and they castrated him or whatever. Once he tied the family up and was trying to shoot everybody, we found that out.
I know what you're
That
fucking talking about
was-
too.
Yeah, that was a good movie.
It was Just
That
Cause.
that
Was it
a
Just
twist
Cause?
I didn't see coming.
Was that Just Cause?
Ooh.
Just Cause, baby.
I want to say Just Cause. Yeah.
Just cause, not just cause.
Because.
Hey, it's just
you
my
said
cuz.
because.
No, he had it
This
just
is the way I say it.
cause.
Cause. Just cause.
Cuz
Because. Just cause. It's just cause.
Yep. That is the movie where Blair Underwood plays Ferguson, plays Bobby Ferguson as
Bona
the
fide
main
ain't shit
villain.
nigga.
And he
Yeah,
gets
he's-
he gets castrated. So goddamn,
Yeah, it's just cause.
who's in this one? Sean Connery, Lawrence
God
Fishburne,
dang it, history.
Ruby D, legend,
Because
Ed
it's just
Harris.
cause. You know,
God dang it. It's just cause.
just cause. That's all it is.
Dang it.
Hey. Do you say because or do you
The
say
word
just
has
or
a
you say
U in
because?
it.
Do you say because or do you say because? Do you say because?
Because.
You don't
it's a
say because,
pause.
you say
it's not pause for a
cause.
cause. It's pause
Because
for a cause, dog.
yeah,
It's pause for a cause.
yeah,
You pause the movie with a U. You pause.
But you say
the movie
because.
with a U.
The word is still spelled the same. Because
Pause, like you pause the movie.
you know what
Like I had
pause
to
is?
pause this
Pause is
movie
spelled
and
PAWS.
goddamn drink coffee or whatever because I had to wake up because this movie is a sleeper.
God damn. So actually,
All
that's
right, what about you? History.
So what's
your
our
rating?
He just
so
roll with it.
I'm about to say, explain to the people what the West Side review rating is.
West Side.
What's our West Side?
Our ratings are winner is the highest rating. That's about a 5 out of 5. The second is an edger, which is about a 4 out of 5. We have sleeper, which is a 2 out of 5. Slumper, which is a 3 out of 5, and we have dumpster, which is a 1 out of 5. So JT already gave his rating, which was a sleeper. History, what is your rating?
2 stars.
2 sleeper. Excuse me, sorry. If you're on YouTube, just hit the number 2 and or put your number and then also what the rating is. So with that, I'm gonna give this.
That's my side.
So for me, I'm actually gonna give this. Oh God, I can't believe I'm gonna give this. But I am going to give this one actually a fucking 3. I'm gonna give this a fucking a slumper, bro. So when I actually kind of understood the film a little bit more where it could have been and what it was supposed to be, I think the fucking kind of like we've done this before with a movie where the production actually kind of done the service for the film and what the actual meaning for the film was done the service for. So Black Panther, JT is a very firm believer that Black Panther is a trash movie. So
Mid at best. Mid
huh?
at best.
See, and I would say that Black Panther is a winner for me, but JT feels straight up that motherfucker is maybe slumper at best, right? Because that's mid. So with that,
It's a slumper, yeah.
so that's what you say. I would say winner. So I think the reason why it makes it better for me and makes it a definitive winner for me is because I know what the actual movie means to people. And we kind of talked about this.
To do with what the movie actually is, though.
The
You
movie
rating
means
the
something.
social impact. You ain't rating the actual film. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I mean, it's just cause, bro. It's just cause the reason why.
Yep. That's how you do, bro. Come with it.
So I think that like this movie was onto something. It just didn't execute as well. The parts that make it my original rating was gonna be a fucking sleeper. It was a JT. I was on the same wavelength as you last night. But when I did more looking into it, listened to it from a fucking female's perspective, and even that female was like maybe 3.5, 3 as well. I just kind of flowed with that as well.
Oh, so this is your wife's rating. Okay.
This is my wife's rating.
She was in the demographic. This
She was
is
the
the problem.
demographic.
So you need to asterisk the shit. I don't bring my wife's rating. I bring my own.
Gotcha. My rating.
Fair.
Yeah,
No,
because I know that we all have Y chromosomes. So that's what.
About it afterwards, and she tells you that her rating is right because she's a woman and she gave you her perspective. That's perfectly valid.
Yeah.
So don't hate on it. I'm just saying I hear my wife's perspective and I'm like, that's great, honey. I hold that in consideration. And then I just, that's how I do.
So I would say that my initial one was it was a sleeper, but because of the fact that
you see,
my initial one was a sleeper, but I could definitely say because it's because I don't have that Y chromosome and I don't live that portion of life. So
my nigga, you do have that Y chromosome.
Oh, that's what I meant. You know what I meant, nigga.
The Y looks like a dick, dog. Guess that's how you know it's you.
Yeah, I have a Y
dangly
chromosome.
Bit. It's got a dangly bit, dog.
Well, I get you, bro. The Y, you know what I meant, nigga. Come on, bro. Come on,
just
bro.
Be happy you ain't got no extra ones, okay?
Yeah, definitely. Oh, I could. You know they got. All right, don't worry about it. But that's another podcast later. Jamel, bro. I learned some shit about chromosomes, and I think that shit is great. Go ahead.
I'm going with an edger. I think nostalgia plays a heavy part of this again. This is one of them. This is one of them movies that was in my mother's rotation, and so always got a soft spot for it. But that does make it an edger in my book. So for me, I think there are performances that I like in the movie, and there's elements of the movie that I like. I understand your criticisms, but for me, I'm sticking with an edger.
Oh, that motherfucker, bro! My rating fucked this up for everybody.
That is way too high, Jamel. I don't know how. Like you talking like a 7, a low edger, because I can't see how that movie's a 7 out of 10. You can't convince me that movie's a 7 out of 10. Huh?
Okay. That's the beauty of it. I don't have to convince you.
You haven't even given
I got it as an edge.
Hold on. Jamel, hold up, my nigga. For real. How is this movie to you an edger? Because what you said was your mama watched the movie a lot. So you're looking at it with rose-tinted glasses. We came back in 2023, my brother. You a grown-ass man now. How did you like the movie as it was today when we watched it?
Oh,
I love the performances in the movie from Meryl Streep, Bailey Jr., as well as Roseanne. I think the overall plot of the movie and the skeleton of the movie also work with regard to revenge. For me, that's what made it entertaining.
Can also keep up some clothes, but go on.
No, those are my points, and that's what elevates it to an edge.
It's just cause, nigga. I told you, bro.
You were
It's just
so
'cause.
generous, Jamel. Look, ladies, this is why Jamel is such a nice guy. He is a glass half full type of person, and I just really feel like that should be more marketable than it really is. Because I'm a realist, and I think this movie is just awful because of the concept. Listen, I got to be honest. The whole she-devil aspect should have dropped it. The she-devil aspect is what ruins this film. It's what makes this film worse. Because this film could have just been about a woman who was going out there minding her business, taking care of her shit, and succeeding. But it wasn't. It had to get petty and weird and dabble in witchcraft. A woman wants to stand up for herself as some kind of witch. This is bad.
I think that it doesn't work with modern day takes. I think it works with during that time. And the only reason being is because of the fact that all those movies were
it didn't work
introducing
either,
somebody.
Dog. That's why it only got 15 million at the box office.
Well, how much it cost for production?
20 million.
God damn, they lost money? And you gave it an edger, the movie that lost money?
Hold on, wait a minute.
Yes, I did.
No. Opening weekend gross is 15 million. So yes, this was a flop. This was a flop movie. That
you know what, bro?
It didn't show that
we had this conversation, dog, about some bad movies, man, and I think that this definitively, like helps and supports my point. It definitely supports my point when I said that, dog. Like there's movies out there, dog, that you just don't know somebody else may love, and I love this fucking rating system because this is not in my fucking catalog. And I love the fact that like Jamel was like, nah, nigga, I'm standing on my ground. I mean, I loved it.
Dang it,
so
I got my movie for my birthday.
Shit. Just it's so
I got
so
one.
hard.
I got one. All right, y'all.
I gotta revive this.
When's your birthday? When is your birthday?
August 22nd.
Out of
God.
Spite, Jamel. Out of spite.
No.
Came up with something.
Dog, I gotta,
All right, so wait, I pick the movie again next week because you've got the week of your birthday, which is the 24th.
No, it's his turn.
That'll be after my birthday. It'll be afterwards. All the birthday high will be wearing off.
Yeah, he said just say the rest of the month is your birthday.
Yeah, because
that's kind of how I do
it. So,
anyway, I have chosen my movie, and we'll talk about it later.
All right. So you're up next week with your movie. So go, let us know. Let us know what it is.
Oh, my movie is The Court Jester, starring Danny Kaye.
Oh my god! I can't wait to revive this.
What do you know about some Danny Kaye, dog? Hold up, motherfucker. What you know about some Danny Kaye? Okay, the man can sing and
holy shit
act.
This is our oldest movie. This is our oldest fucking movie.
Jesus Christ, this movie is from the 50s.
I'm bringing it back. Like
niggas wasn't even free really back then.
Oh, you know what? We gonna watch this film and it's gonna
you
be
were
a better
illegal,
time
JT.
That's
you were illegal. You are half black and white. That wasn't legal until like 65, bro.
Up in there like apartheid, baby. Come on, we gonna watch this film.
Please.
Ah, Jesus.
Please, man.
Oh boy. Please. I mean, where do we see this?
Hold up, dog. I'm asking for a friend. Bro, we lost viewers because of this one. Bro, just fuck.
Look.
Oh, just do me a favor.
That's only because Marion fell asleep. Don't worry about it.
no, just do me a favor. Just do me a favor.
Okay, it's on Pluto TV. So it's Jesus Christ. Okay, JT, you know what? It's your birthday, and none of us are gonna play. So that's the movie for next week. The
movie.
The Court
this
Jester.
is a great movie / play. Okay, we're gonna watch this.
No,
and it's gonna be.
I'll take your word for it until I see the movie.
No,
and then I may have some dispute, but I don't want to complain about it.
No,
apparently I do that a lot in some of our other chats, according to history and trail. So I'm gonna be fine.
This movie, I don't think it features a single black person, but other than that, it's a fabulous film.
No.
Yeah. I'm not afraid to
we were talking about Bard.
Guess what? Like the moon. I pull you dark niggas to one side. Every
No,
month. I gotta have my sway, y'all. I gotta do my thing every month. So come on with the court jester.
your half sisters are calling in. Your half sisters are really calling right now. This is
Nah,
this
dog,
is
this is me.
Yeah.
This is me
this is
because your mom never
no.
watched this shit.
Okay.
And
So
there's a
I was
black
looking
person
up.
film either. So how about that?
So I looked
I
up the
didn't see
Court
one at the
Jester,
pool
the
party. Did
movie.
you? Did you?
Huh?
Did you see a black person at the pool party? Because I didn't.
No.
Which
Maybe
pool party?
one of the cops served the warrant. That's about it.
Mm,
But
Okay,
I
so
mean,
I
yeah,
was
court
looking
jester
up
ain't
the
gonna look
Court
much different.
Jester,
So don't be mad. Okay, that's all I'm saying.
and
mm,
it had something
no,
about Jackson, Michigan. Did
no.
y'all know that that city's named after Andrew Jackson, and it's known as the
Oh, that's
birthplace of the Republican Party? Like I didn't
just
know that,
unfortunate.
and I'm disgusted by the whole name after Andrew Jackson part because that dude is terrible. But yeah,
No.
movie next week, The Court Jester. History, wrap us up and lead us into the voice of reason for the week.
So with that, you can find us on wherever you get your audio acoustical pleasures from. Check us out on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, wherever you love to listen to your podcast on. Definitely give us a like and a subscribe. Hit that rating. Give us a 5-star rating, man. Anything below, usually just make us as discovered. We are in the middle of growing, y'all, and we're trying to be the best podcast out there. We're trying to spread this knowledge and love and talk about more shit that just makes people just feel good and have an interesting week. With that, you can also find us on YouTube. We are actually on the goal. We're trying to get to 500 subs right now. We need some more people. We need some more subs. So help us out with that. Definitely hit that like and that notification bell so you can know wherever we go live on the podcast. Join the conversation. We actually have a Facebook group, Historical Voices from the East Side Podcast. You can check that out, the page and the actual Facebook group. Join the group so you can be a part of the actual chat, the text chat, where we go to the HVFE town hall chat. So the only way you can do that is if you join our Facebook group. Again, that is Historical Voices from the East Side Podcast. And then finally, with that, y'all stop posting about these damn memes on Montgomery, Alabama, and do something with the shit that just happened. Grow something, be better, and let's let it move. Like Vegeta said in Dragon Ball Z, take that anger and let it fucking move you. So with that, when we have all of the pent up anger on the inside and we release it possibly negatively, positively, I'll make some type of impact. No pun intended. We decide to turn to something that's deep inside of us, something that actually encourages us to have a little bit more reason than normal. So we turn to the voice of reason to guide us. So JT, tell us, what is the voice of reason this week?
One of the things I want to talk to you all about that I hear the voice saying is one of the things that drives us apart is how we feel we're different. A lot of times, we in America, we have a rift, even with our neighbors. And sometimes it really sucks when you're trying to extend your hand, but you know your neighbor doesn't know what kind of gift they need to fill that category. If you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying. And if you don't, go watch that video of that ass whooping on the Montgomery, Alabama docks. And then maybe you can figure out a little bit what I'm talking about. It'll make sense to you there. I think we need to come together as a people and realize that other people are just people. They're your brothers and sisters in humanity. And we share 99.6% of our DNA with everybody. So they are your brothers and sisters. And the more you treat people like that, without expecting to get anything in return, the more you can bring love to your immediate area. And the more you'll be remembered, and you'll build a legacy of selflessness. And this, my friends, is how we stay alive. But that's not what I'm talking about. Neil Armstrong said something, it was a joke, but Neil Armstrong said when he was up there in space looking down, he could only think of two types of people. Those folks that were down there thinking that there was invisible boundaries, and losers who had never been to the moon. So I want to encourage y'all, go to the moon sometime. Take a big, wide approach of the whole world and ask yourself, what can you bring to the table? And this is one of the things I love about hosting the show with these fellas is they all bring something different to the table. Jamel goes and watches more movies than I could really be bothered to watch in a week. And he comes and he gives us his honest opinion of these things. History loves to dive into the reasons why these movies actually move anything forward and talk about why the history of a film can make it. When I'm sitting over here arguing about the fact that the production value is trash. So, you know, we got our man in the past, our man in the present, and me in the future. I just love it, y'all. I love it. I appreciate y'all for coming here. And I think if you think about the show from that, with the history, the present, the future, I think the show make a little more sense. I don't think the future will look kindly back on this movie that we're gonna watch here. But the court jester, that's a whole different thing, y'all. I'm excited for that one. It's gonna be fun to make these fellas watch some classic stuff. See, I need to make y'all come to my house and watch it. That's really what needs to happen.
Pay for the flight.
Watch party on. I put it in a group. Maybe I'll put it in a group. Have the whole group come and watch it. And we'll just stream it or whatever. See what happens. I don't know. We get crazy with it, y'all. Get crazy.
Fair enough, man. We used to
I
do
had a
actual
couple other
group
words of
watches.
wisdom, but to be honest, I just really just want to appreciate y'all a little bit. Thanks for hosting the show with me, and you know, I love y'all input on some stuff.
Yes.
Jamel, this was a whack ass movie, but I love hearing how happy it made you to rewatch it. So it was worth it just for that.
Yeah. This was definitely really good.
And
man.
nothing else, because I watched a movie about a cheating son bitch with my wife. You think that gonna give me some pussy tonight? Come on, dog. You fucking my night up. You know
I mean,
what I'm
she might
talking about
appreciate
history,
you
right?
more.
Right? Yeah.
Oh God.
Think about this.
So,
Both of y'all wives are like, wow, my husband is not that.
Listen,
nah,
we are
nigga,
both in a
that's not how it
salty
works.
mood because we had to watch a weak man for an hour and a half. That's never a pleasure. We had a weak man as president for 4 years. You know what the fuck I'm talking about. We got half a weak one now. He just don't even know it. That's the problem.
So I will say this, man. This movie definitely makes you fucking salty. I'm surprised that we didn't go with a salty.
Salty as
It's
caramel
salty
corn,
as
bro.
fuck, dog. Yes, exactly.
If you got a salty fuck, I mean, switch that diet.
Yeah, this movie definitely felt different. With that, man, this was fucking dope, man. This was amazing, and let's keep making history. See y'all next week. Peace.
Peace.
Is it exit videoing? Because I don't think it is. Drop it in the comments if you're still here with us. But I don't think it's exit videoing.